let's talk about what's happening right now. Vladimir Putin has his marathon press conference every year, at which time he feels...
Didn't have it last year.
Or was it the year before he didn't have it?
Because of Ukraine. Wasn't going well.
So he feels as though he's going to take all questions now. He feels as though the West's support for Ukraine is wearing thin, and he feels good about where he's at right now in this war, even though he's lost 320,000 soldiers, 90% of his initial fighting force. But the big story is the Wall Street Journal reporter and a New York Times reporter asked about Evan Gershkovich. Listen to Vladimir Putin's response.
My colleague, Wall Street Journal correspondent Evan Gershkovich, has been held in Lefortovo prison without a trial for 37 weeks. His detention was today again, the extension on his detention was today again upheld. Paul Whelan, another U.S. citizen, has been in prison for nearly 5 years. What will it take to bring them home?
It's not that we decline to send them home. No, we want to come to terms, and these agreements must be mutually acceptable. We have contacts with our American partners on that. We're in touch with them. I hope we'll find a mutually acceptable solution, but the American side should also listen to us and make a decision that would be satisfactory for the Russian side also.
What's satisfactory is normally releasing people that are a risk to America.
Yeah, he was guilty of having dinner.
Exactly. So you have people that are innocent, and he wants people for us to exchange them for people that have committed crimes and would go back to committing more crimes. And I just think, if you're the White House, I get it. We want these folks home. One of them is a colleague of ours. But I think it's disrespectful to negotiate after you've had the intelligence community do all the intelligence work. You have the operators that put their lives at risk to capture these people and hold them accountable, and then we let them go back out and inflict pain on Americans. I don't think that's the right deal to do.
You're talking about a potential swap.
Correct.
Right. And clearly, when Putin is talking about a mutually agreeable solution for both parties, it's a prisoner swap. But, you know, Evan Gershkovich, pictured screen right there, is based at a company in this building that we're sitting in, the Wall Street Journal. He's not a spy, but that's how Russia rolls. Russia grabs people and says, yep, they're a spy. Same thing with Paul Whelan. He was sentenced to 16 years. He is still in jail. About 10 days ago, we had Evan's parents on Fox & Friends for an exclusive interview, and they told us that they had met with Joe Biden. And Joe Biden said, I got a good team working on this, and pointed essentially to the Secretary of State. So he's the point person. But he's very busy right now with what's going on in Israel and with Hamas. The worry of the Gershkovich family is that they're going to forget about their son. We're never going to forget. Here they are essentially talking to the president about their boy.
That promise that the president made gave us a lot of solace and hope and strength, but it's after 250 days, it's getting very, very hard to hold on to that. We want the U.S. government to focus on bringing an American journalist back home.
We had President Biden's promise to do whatever it takes to bring Evan back. He also told us that he relates to us as a parent. He feels our pain, and his words ring in my ears every single day.
Yeah, you mentioned this prisoner swap. Lawrence, you said you didn't think it was a great idea. You also mentioned, Brian, that, you know, people are growing weary here in the United States with the war in Ukraine. I wonder, as I listen to this, if maybe instead of interfering with peace agreements, maybe there could be a peace agreement between Russia and our proxies, you know, the Ukrainians, and maybe this could be included as part of that deal. That's something, you know, I think that would be a great Christmas present for that family that's truly suffering, and maybe for America. So that's a thought.
Yeah, I don't think that could possibly play a role in the Ukraine peace agreement. But Gershkovich wrote this with this factual story about the economy in Russia falling apart. He had all the stats in it. Then went out to dinner. The next day, then he gets arrested.
That's
they
what
say of espionage. That's what did it. So, see, and by the way, he's got his family's from Russia.
Yeah.
So he liked the beat. He's like, I'll work it because I understand the people, I understand the country, and that's what happens to him. Unbelievable.
So sad.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.